It is my honor and privilege to present to you my research titled Asynchronous Video Brain Breaks, an innovative learning strategy to improve the academic performance of grade in TLE of grade 8 students during new normal. I am Olivia N. Crisostomo from SDO Cavite Province. A blessed day to each and everyone. Before I begin, I would just like to emphasize the importance of having breaks as a learning strategy. It helps students review their notes, reflect on them, discuss and explain the key ideas with their partners. DepEd Order Number 12 Series of 2020 Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan that adopted multiple learning modalities to be used during this new normal education as an emergency measure to allow instruction amid challenging circumstances. UNESCO 2020 proposed the use of digital technology using asynchronous or asynchronous. The list mastered competencies of grade 8 TLE agriculture students of ETT MNIHS were farm tools and their uses, farm inputs, farm calculations, farm layout and irrigation, personal protective equipment. Learning requires frequent brain rest. There is short mental pause that help learners focus, pay attention. They usually get students moving so that the blood and students can flow their brains. These breaks provide students as a chance to reboot their day and boost their energy and relaxation. Brain breaks are mind calming exercises. These poses have been shown to increase our thinking skills and encourage all types of learning. Brain breaks allow for the repair of neurotransmitters and assist brain recuperation. When the amygdala is at full capacity and has reached information overload and the learner is unable to retain new material. Because of our brains only have so many neurotransmitters, it's critical to give one section of the brain time to rest and recuperate while another is active and working. This prevents all parts of the brain from becoming depleted, allowing information to be kept and maintained. Brain breaks also deliberate learning shifts that allow the brain to rejuvenate itself. It's a chance to establish the flow of traffic, or in this case, information, in order to reach each stimulate destination. The video brain breaks included a video welcome message at the beginning of the lesson. Number 2, weekly video lectures from the teachers to augment the usual school-wide PowerPoint with audio. Number 3, at least 2 video discussion, posting for discussion question each week. Number 4, video instructions and expectations for written assignment. And the last, video messages, generally 2 per week to discuss the relevant topics for the week. To maximize the use of video brain breaks under modular learning modality, the teacher researcher decided to use the asynchronous form of using video brain breaks through the use of flash drive, television, tablets, and cell phones, which the students were used during the implementation of the intervention. To further enhance the students' performance, all applicable strategies, activities, and procedures were included in the weekly home learning plan of the students. Here are the screenshots of the video brain breaks I gave to the participants. The statement of the problem. This study aims to investigate the effectiveness of asynchronous video brain breaks as an innovative learning strategy during new normal form of education. Number 1, what is the result of the pretest of of the participants of the study. Number 2, what is the result of the post-test of the participants of the study? And number 3, is there a significant difference in the control between the pre-test and post-test scores of the participant? Here is the theoretical conceptual framework of the study. There are two groups, the control groups and the experimental. Under the control group, there is a pre-test and the post-test. On the experimental group, there is a pre-test and then the intervention using the video brain breaks and post-test. From the methodology and the scope of the study, the participants were 30 grade 8 students from ETTM and IHS school year 2021-2022. The researcher utilized convenient sampling since she handled the students concerned. The control group and the experimental had 15 students each. The students in the experimental group were chosen on the basis of their academic performance in the past year. Data gathering methods. The data were collected using researcher-made 100-item tests in total for pre-test and post-test, 20 items for competency. The pre-test and post-test were validated by the department head, master teacher in PLE, and school head. Here are the sample questions from the instrument. Okay. Why do farmers use ear muffs or earplugs when using noisy equipment? Letter A, protect your body. Letter B, protect your eyes. Letter C, to protect your ears. Letter D, to protect your feet. Number 2, which tool resembles the appearance of a spoon and it is used for transferring soil? Letter A, grab hoe. Letter B, shovel. Letter C, spade. Letter D, spading fork. Number 3, which of the following equipment is basically used for threshing rice? Letter A, thresher. Letter B, miller. Letter C, corn dehusker. Letter D, rice seeder. Number 4, what do you call the process of removing water from the soil in order to increase its productivity? Letter A, draining. Letter B, fertilizing. Letter C, irrigation. Letter D, none of the above. Next question. What is the equivalent of 5? Letter A, 3.15. Letter B, 3.14. Letter C, 3.16. And letter D, 3.17. How would you solve for the area if the shape of the farm is triangle? Letter A is equals to length times width. Letter B, A is equals to 0.5 times B times height. Letter C, A is equals to 1/4 times 3.14 times B times D. And letter D, A is equals to length times width times height. The rice of farm of Mrs. Valdez was irrigated through the use of open pipes when nozzle that produces fine water spray stimulating rain. Which of the following is the method used? Letter A, drip or trickle irrigation. Letter B, overhead irrigation. Letter C, sprinkle or irrigation. And letter D, surface irrigation. Next question. In order to save irrigation water, you should practice the following except. Letter A, avoiding over-irrigation. Letter B, planting the field with uniform distances. Letter C, practicing lining canals properly with a clay paddle. And letter D, practicing wild planting. Next question. What is the method of planting crops in which seeds are directly planted on the ground in any growing surface? Letter A, direct seeding. Letter B, indirect seeding. Letter C, transplanting. Letter D, hill method. Next question. What is the importance of watering the seedlings before transplanting? Letter A, retains the fertility of the soil. Letter B, develops the seeds. Letter C, dried the soil. And letter D, moisten the soil. Next question. What is the equivalent used to draw irrigation water from a source? Letter A, hand tractor. Letter B, miller. Letter C, water pump. And letter D, thresher. Last question. What group does bolo, knife, and sickle belong? Letter A, cutting tools. Letter D, digging tools. Letter C, tools for spraying. And letter D, watering tools. From the data analysis, the scores were analyzed using mean. These were further analyzed using paired sample t-test to compare the pre-test and post-test scores. A t-test is a statistical test that is used to compare the means of two groups. It is often used in hypothesis testing to determine whether a process or treatment actually has an effect on the population of interest or whether two groups are different from one another. Research finding from Table 1, pre-test mean score. From the control group, the mean is 22.20, and from the experimental group, it is 27.20. The table and graph show the pre-test scores of the control and experimental group. Prior to the intervention, the control group garnered a mean score of 22.20, while the experimental group got a mean of score of 27.30. As shown on the graph, the mean scores of both groups had small gap. The pre-test means achievement test scores of the experimental group of 27.30 was higher than the 22.20 mean the pre-test of the control group. From the table 2, post-test mean score in the achievement from the control group 58.20 and from the experimental group 67.90. The table and graph show the pre-test score of the control and the experimental group. Prior, the intervention of the control group garnered a mean of score of 58.70, while the experimental group got a mean of 67.90. As shown on the graph, the mean score of both groups should graph. The post-test means achievement test scores of the experimental group 67.90 was higher than 58.70 mean post-test of the control group. From the table 3, a mean and test of significant difference between the achievement of the control group, experimental group in the pre-test and the post-test. From the control group, the mean is 22.20, the post-test is 58.70, the mean difference is 36.50, and the t-value is 22.12, significant is 0.00, and it is highly significant. From the experimental group, 27.30 from the pre-test. From the post-test, 67.90. Mean difference is 40.60. The t-value is 25.96. And the significant is 0.00, remarks highly significant. The table show both the scores of the control and experimental groups. Both comparisons between their pre-test and post-test were found to be highly significant. A pre-test mean difference of 0.42 with a t-value of 1.02, which was highly significant, at 0.5 level was observed. From the post-test, a mean difference of 1.07 with t-value of 1.25 was highly significant at 0.5 level was observed. From the conclusion, both groups showed an increase in the achievement. there was a highly significant difference between the mean scores of the students subjected to video brain breaks instruction and those of the traditional method of teaching. It can be concluded that video brain breaks instructions was effective. From the recommendations, considering the effectiveness of video brain breaks instruction in teaching, it is recommended that teachers use this approach to help the students learn the subject or in any subjects. Then, the school may use video brain breaks instruction in delivering the lesson as method of teaching. Number 3, other competencies not covered by this study can be considered for further research. References. The references mentioned in the slides are plus in the screen. I have here a quotation. Sometimes when we take a break, we may find that solution, then present themselves. We need to take a break to relax our brain, our mind, and our self. That's all, and thank you. Again, I am Mrs. Olivia N. Crisostomo and presented my study titled Asynchronous Video Brain Breaks, an Innovative Learning Strategy to Improve the Academic Performance in TLE of Grade 8 Students During New Normal. I am now ready to entertain questions from the panel.